Hello, I am Professor Zubin from Durgadevi Saraf Institute of Management Studies, located in Mumbai. Through this video, I will teach you about supply chain and logistics and the management of these two. What is a supply chain? It is a series of commercial activities to provide some good to the customer, or sometimes to provide a good which further on helps to produce a service for the customer. It necessarily consists of movement of goods. So though the end product might be service, but there has to be some movement of goods to justify it being called a supply chain. The collective object of these activities is to generate a profit in most cases. For example, it may be manufacture of a car, or it may be provision of food in a restaurant, or it may be manufacture of such C-class items such as nuts and bolts, or manufacture of stationery. Of course, sometimes the profit is not the motive. For example, meals provided by NGOs. There is no profit motive. But nevertheless, there is a supply chain. This diagram tells you in very brief manner what a supply chain is. Let us consider a simple example of a car manufacturer. Every car has 4 wheels. The wheels are made of rubber, and the rubber is made from latex, which comes from the rubber tree. An average car manufacturer, he purchases his tires from a tire manufacturer. The tire manufacturer purchases latex from a latex trader. The latex trader very likely purchases the latex from a plantation owner. Thus, for a car, tires are the raw material. For the tire manufacturer, latex is the raw material. For the trader, his input is the latex, and his output is also the latex. Thus, as you notice, latex is converted into rubber, and rubber is converted into tire. And then the tire is fitted into the body of a car, which can move on roads. Thus, for the car manufacturer, the tire manufacturer is the supplier. For the tire manufacturer, the latex trader is the supplier. For the latex trader, the plantation owner is the supplier. So from the point of view of the car manufacturer, the plantation owner would be supplier, supplier, supplier. But that sounds very unprofessional. So we use the term tier. So the first supplier to the car manufacturer is known as tier 1 supplier. The person who supplies to the tier 1 supplier is known as the tier 2 supplier with respect to the car manufacturer. And the person who supplies to the tier 2 supplier is considered as tier 3 supplier with respect to the car manufacturer. As you see, there is manufacturing of rubber from latex. There is manufacturing of tire from rubber. And there is manufacturing of car using tires, steel, nuts, bolts, glass, etc. So manufacturing is taking place throughout the length of the supply chain. So what should we call this supply chain as? We have to call the supply chain with respect to the final product that is being produced. So the final product which is being produced is the car, and which is being sold to the last customer. Hence, the company which makes the car, I would call it as the main manufacturer. And the tire manufacturer, or the rubber manufacturer, or the plantation owner which helps to produce latex, these are the secondary manufacturers. In case of a product such as a biscuit, the manufacturer sells his goods to a distributor. The distributor might be at state level or even at regional level. The distributor sells his products to a wholesaler who might be at district level. The wholesaler sells his goods to retailers, as this diagram shows. And it is in the end that the retailer sells these biscuits to the end customer. The end customer is the actual consumer, the person who consumes the product. So thus you notice distributor, wholesaler, retailer, these are all traders. Whatever comes into their warehouses, the same product moves out. There is no change in shape and size. Now I will talk about logistics. What is logistics? Basically, logistics is movement of goods in the commercial areas, such as factories, warehouses, trading places, etc. To explain from the point of view of supply chain, logistics is the movement of goods between the different entities of the supply chain. It is a movement of raw materials from the supplier to the main manufacturer. It is a movement of goods from the main manufacturer to the distributor, from the distributor to the wholesaler, from the wholesaler to the retailers, from the retailer to the end customer, who is the consumer. Of course, these goods are different. The supplier provides raw materials to the main manufacturer. The main manufacturer provides finished goods to the distributor, which further on go to the wholesaler, then to the retailer, and then to the consumer. But does it include only movement of raw materials and finished goods? No. It also includes movement of WIP. In case the WIP moves out of the one factory complex into another factory complex. Many complex manufactured products involve manufacturing over different factory locations. It's not just within a single factory. The WIP moves from location A to factory location B. So that is also logistics. Mind you, it is not only raw materials, finished goods, and WIP. To package the finished goods, packaging materials are purchased. To ensure that the machines run properly, lubricants are purchased. Lubricants are a part of consumables category. And even the machines are purchased once in their lifetimes. The movement of machines, that is also logistics. Of course, this is a unique type of logistics. So overall, logistics is movement of goods. But is the definition complete? No. Because logistics also involves storage of goods, storage of raw materials, storage of WIP, storage of finished goods, storage of packaging materials, storage of consumables. Why storage? Because the production of goods, be it in the raw material form or the finished good form, there is often a time lapse between this production and the time of consumption. Hence, storage is also required. Now I complete the definition of logistics. It is the movement and storage of goods. Now we'll talk about competitive advantage of supply chain. In the past, the 4 P's of marketing were sufficient: product, price, promotion, and place. But today, mere marketing is not sufficient. It has to be helped by a very good supply chain management. Just as we have 4 P's of marketing, we have the 5 R's of supply chain management. What are they? First, reliability. What is reliability? The simple English meaning of reliability is dependability, something that has been assigned the responsibility, and that responsibility is executed. In terms of supply chain, the supplier promises to deliver X number of goods to his immediate customer at so and so place and at so and so time. Let's say he delivers not X number of quantity, but Y number of quantity, where the Y might be more or less than X. His immediate customer requires only X number, not more nor less. Thus, the immediate customer is a bit dissatisfied, and we may say that the supplier has not supplied as per his promise. Let us go to another simple situation. The supplier has promised X and he delivers X. But is it of the proper quality? Say 5% or 2% or 1% of that X quantity is not of the right quality. Then is the customer satisfied? No, he is not satisfied. So merely delivering the right quantity is not sufficient. Even the quality has to be 100%. Let us say now the supplier has promised X quantity and he delivers the X quantity of the right quality, but just with a delay of 2-3 days. Is the customer satisfied? No. The customer requires the quantity on Monday, then it has to be delivered on Monday. If it requires on Wednesday, it has to be delivered on Wednesday. In short, let us say the quantity which is delivered at the right time, right place, of the right quality level is quantity Y. Then reliability is Y divided by X. If you express it as a percentage, then it's Y divided by X. This number multiplied by 100. Failure of delivery of raw material leads to a disruption of all the supply chain activities from that point onwards. Hence, reliability is important. Now we go to the next R, responsiveness. What is a responsive person or a responsive entity? A responsive person or a responsive entity is one who responds to the needs of his stakeholders. He responds quickly, in the right amount, and in the right way. In a supply chain, the different entities who supply to the next entities, they should be responsive. Thus, for a main manufacturer, responsive suppliers are those who meet his needs quickly and provide a larger product range. Thus, a responsive main manufacturer is one who meets the needs of his customers quickly and is willing to provide a large range as demanded by his customers. For example, a biscuit manufacturer. A biscuit manufacturer should produce biscuits as per the needs of the market and provide a wide variety of range, such as cream biscuits, cracker biscuits, salty biscuits, sweet and salty biscuits, diabetic biscuits, and so on. A main manufacturer who is willing to manufacture just 1 or 2 SKUs for his customers, we may not say he is a responsive manufacturer. The third R is resilience. What is resilience? Resilience is ability to withstand some adverse problem. In a supply chain, resilience is the ability of the main manufacturer to overcome the problems, to overcome the disruptions. What are the disruptions? Lack of supply of raw materials, or disruptions in the transportation of finished goods from the factory of the main manufacturer to the distributor. In the past 10-20 years, the factors which increase the possibility of disruptions have increased in number as well as in magnitude. Why? Let us discuss. First, previously companies used to purchase from the local areas or from the local regions. But nowadays, companies purchase not only from local regions, but also from the other regions of the country, as well as from outside the country, for the purpose of cost reduction. The longer the raw materials travel, greater is the probability of disruption to the supply of these raw materials. Second reason, just in time. Companies all over the world have been impressed by the gains made by the Japanese manufacturers, and hence they have employed a lot of Japanese manufacturing philosophy, one of them being just in time. Just in time implies that one must have low inventories of raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods, just enough quantity to supply the next entity in the supply chain. But what about those times when the supply from the previous entity is disrupted? Or what about those times when the machines in your own department or factory, they are broken down? Then either you cannot produce the desired quantity because of lack of inputs to your department, or you are not able to give the promised quantity to the next entities in the supply chain. Thus, JIT comes with its advantages as well as its disadvantages. In the past 10-20 years, many companies have outsourced manufacturing because they want to reduce costs. But outsourcing manufacturing involves transportation of these manufactured components. And more the transportation, more the probability of disruption of supply chain. Lean manufacturing. Companies also have adopted this philosophy to reduce the costs. Costs in terms of money invested in machines, money invested in having manpower, money invested in stocks of finished goods. But lesser machine capacity, lesser manpower, and lesser stocks of finished goods increase the probability of disruptions. Hence, because of these philosophies, the chances of disruption to supply chain has increased, and hence the company has to be more resilient to these disruptions. How can the company be more resilient? By adopting information technology such as EDI and ERP, VSAT, RFID, and cell phones. Explanation of these technologies will take a lot of time, and hence that might be covered in another session. Often you've seen products such as kitchen cabinets. They come in modular design. Such modular design helps to reduce the number of SKUs at the retailer's level. Lesser the number of SKUs, higher the quantity of stocks a retailer can store in his warehouse. Hence, lesser is the probability of disruptions. Similarly, delayed differentiation helps to reduce the probability of these disruptions. You must have observed an ice cream parlor manufacturing ice cream as per your needs, with or without chocolate sauce, with or without almonds, with or without cashew nuts, or with or without some syrup. Thus, there is differentiation of products as late as possible in the supply chain. This late differentiation enables reduction of SKUs. Less number of SKUs means higher the quantity of these SKUs the retailer can stock, hence less the probability of disruptions. Thus, adoption of information technology, modular design, and delayed differentiation can increase the resilience of a company to disruptions in its supply chain. Next R is relationships. 20-30 years ago, the concept of manufacturing in India involved having a large number of suppliers. The relationship between the main manufacturer and the supplier used to be mostly commercial. The manufacturers were advised to have 2, 3, 4, 5 suppliers so that there is no dependability on one supplier. But nowadays, the Japanese philosophy, which has been adopted, proposes that the company should have as less number of suppliers as possible. In some rare cases, even one. What are the benefits of such a relationship? The production schedule of the supplier can be integrated with the main manufacturer. Since there is integration between the production schedules of the two manufacturers, that is, the supplier and the main manufacturer, less safety stock is required. The supplier of raw materials, he knows the methods and work culture of the main manufacturer. Hence, the communication between the supplier and the main manufacturer is better and faster, more accurate and more complete. Hence, there is less chances of disruption of information between the supplier and the main manufacturer. Information such as purchase order and delivery schedules. There is less chance of disruption to supply of raw materials from the supplier to the main manufacturer. And also, there is less chances of late payments from the main manufacturer to the supplier. Hence, the supplier is also happy and he will try his best to deliver on time. After the stabilization of quality process of the supplier, the main manufacturer acquires confidence in his supplier, and he may even shift the inspection of raw materials from his own factory to the factory of his supplier. The supplier also needs to provide a wide range of components for those goods. Hence, there are frequent changes in the design of the goods that the supplier in the design of the raw materials that the supplier has to provide to the main manufacturer. When the integration between the supplier's manufacturing process and the main manufacturer's manufacturing process is stronger, these changes in the design become a lot easier for the supplier. There is an advantage to the supplier also for having a stronger relationship with his client, the main manufacturer. Since now the main manufacturer has only him as the supplier of raw materials, it acts as a barrier to other companies who want to supply that raw material to the main manufacturer. Mind you, this is a benefit to the supplier only. The fifth R is reach. 20 years ago, pizzas were available in India, but they were available in restaurants. They were not available in shops where we could eat just pizzas, or shops that delivered pizzas at our homes. Today, if someone wants to set up a chain of pizza outlets, will he succeed? If he is not willing to supply these pizzas as per phone calls at the required homes and offices? No. Thus, a supply chain must be able to reach its products to the desired destination. And mind you, today those destinations are far away and varied in number. Thus, for strong supply chain management, all the 5 R's have to be implemented well. I hope you have learned about supply chain management and logistics management through this video. Thank you.